What started as a simple favor quickly turned into a shocking ordeal. A woman agreed to care for her friend's children for just 2 weeks, but those 2 weeks stretched into nearly 3 months, with no support and no updates from the parent. Day after day passed without a phone call, without financial help, and without even a basic effort to check on the children's well-being. As the details unfolded, an even more surprising revelation came to light. The children's mother and the caregiver's fiancé were living in the same state during this entire situation. When the full chain of events was finally presented in court, the atmosphere inside the courtroom changed instantly. What appeared to be a disagreement over childcare costs became a much deeper story about broken trust, ignored responsibilities, and a judge who was no longer willing to tolerate excuses. The testimony left many people stunned, as the true extent of the situation became impossible to ignore.
Easily, you brought this case before the court. What's going on?
So I met Nicole about 9 months ago. She normally comes into town when she is here on a traveling assignment, and the lady next door rents out her home to travel nurses. And so over time, we, kind of clicked and we started hanging out. Her children would come over and play with mine, and we just, became really good friends. And so this particular time, she had another assignment somewhere else, and her current nanny wasn't available. And so I offered to keep the kids. I had just finished special agent school, and I had some downtime. So she was like, well, it'll be about 6 weeks, but I probably just need you for the 2 weeks, and my other nanny will come and get the kids. And I said, okay, cool. I told her, a price. We kind of made the arrangements. And then over time, after the first week, I didn't hear from her. She didn't.
Wait a minute. So after a week of you having her children, she didn't call you, she didn't check on them, no FaceTime,
I couldn't get her on the phone. I would call, I would send her a text. The kids would even call. I think that the 10-year-old has a phone. He even tried to call. She just wasn't available.
And their ages are 10 and
7.
10 and 7. Okay.
Boy and girl.
Okay.
Yeah. So after the first week, I was like, okay, well, maybe she's just busy. I know nurses, they work 12-hour days.
The case had barely begun, and already the details were raising serious concerns. What started as a simple favor between friends suddenly turned into a much larger responsibility for Miss Easley. At first, everything appeared completely ordinary. 2 mothers spending time together while their children enjoyed playing, and nothing seemed out of place. Then, the entire situation took an unexpected turn when Nicole dropped off her children and disappeared from the picture. What seemed temporary quickly became an ongoing burden with no clear explanation. As the timeline unfolded, it became harder to understand how a parent could go so long without reaching out or showing concern. Inside the courtroom, the facts were beginning to paint a troubling picture, and it was clear the judge was paying close attention. With every new detail, the case moved further away from a simple childcare dispute and closer to a story about accountability, trust, and the duties that come with being a parent. The early testimony alone was enough to leave the courtroom wanting answers.
The second week came around, I didn't get the next payment. The next payment would have been through Venmo. She didn't send me no money. She didn't send the payment. I still couldn't get her on the phone. So at the time, my fiance had just got back in town, probably a couple days after she had left. And I kind of was telling him about what was going on. And he, was like, well, just give her some time. And, just to me, nonchalant about it in a way. And so he ended up having to go back out of town for an emergency work trip. And so I remember when he left, that next week when I couldn't get on the phone again, I happened to just call him and I couldn't get him on the phone. And I was just like, okay, something isn't right. My detectors went off and
Mine
I was
are
like,
too.
okay. So, so I ended up pulling his location and I realized they were in the same state.
Oh.
I said, well, maybe that's a coincidence. He travels a lot,
He travels a lot.
He travels a lot.
She travels a lot.
She's a travel nurse. She should only be at the hospital. She shouldn't be anywhere else. But
well,
they both
who's
travel
to say
a lot.
where I should be, but okay.
Well, who's to say you should wait your turn?
As the testimony continued, the situation became even more troubling. There were no payments being made and no effort to stay in contact, while the responsibility kept falling on Miss Easley. At the same time, another unexpected detail emerged. Her fiancé also seemed to disappear from the picture during the very period when the children's mother stopped communicating. For a while, Miss Easley remained patient and continued hoping there was a reasonable explanation behind the silence. Despite the growing burden, she kept caring for the children and providing for their daily needs without creating conflict. But as more days turned into weeks, the pattern became impossible to ignore. The absence of communication from one person was concerning enough, but the disappearance of both adults at the same time raised even more serious questions. Anyone placed in that position would likely begin to feel worried and suspicious. Inside the courtroom, these details added a new layer to the case, and the judge appeared focused on understanding exactly how such an unusual chain of events had been allowed to continue for so long. The deeper the story went, the more difficult it became to overlook the warning signs.
And so, I end up, I remember I ended up FaceTiming him, and he didn't answer, which is unusual because he would call every night, he would check in. The communication is never our issue. So the next day, now we're probably 2.5 weeks in, I got him on the phone that Wednesday morning, and I happened to hear her in the background.
Keep going.
And so I said, where you at? He said, I'm getting ready to go into a meeting. And I said, oh, okay. And I left it at that.
Oh, wow. I've never held my teacup this long.
So now we're going on now we're 2.5 weeks in. And so I decided to call her again. She ends up calling probably that afternoon. And was like, oh, I'm sorry, I've been working and it's just been crazy at work and, I'm sorry about the kids. And so I was like, well, where you say you was at again? And she told me where she was at, and I was just like, well, what happened to the nanny that was supposed to be coming? And I said, I thought I might have heard Michael in the background. Are you sure, you at work? And she kind of got an attitude and got real defensive. And I said, I'm at work, and, you offered it to the kids, and I'll get you your money, and just...
Oh, the audacity. Yeah. You're keeping her kids.
All of that.
And you have kids of your own.
Kids of my own.
Wow.
So I have, and they're older. So I don't, have that problem. So for her to do that, I was like, okay. So then now...
This testimony marked a major turning point in the case, and suddenly, the situation looked far more complicated than anyone first believed. During a phone conversation, Miss Easley reportedly heard Nicole's voice in the background while speaking with her fiancé. That single moment connected several troubling details and raised a new wave of concerns. What had already been a difficult situation now carried the weight of a deeply personal betrayal. As these facts were discussed in court, the reaction was impossible to ignore. The judge appeared especially attentive as the timeline and relationships involved became clearer. Instead of addressing the concerns directly, Nicole reportedly became defensive when questions were raised about her actions. That response only added to the growing scrutiny surrounding the case. Leaving children in someone else's care for an extended period without support was already a serious issue. Learning that the individuals at the center of the dispute may have been together during that time created even more questions about judgment, responsibility, and honesty. By this stage, the courtroom was no longer focused only on unpaid childcare. The case had evolved into a much larger story about trust, broken commitments, and decisions that affected everyone involved.
Nanny didn't show up. I still haven't received payment. And I sent her a text. I was like, look, you need to make an arrangement for your children. I did this out of the kindness of my heart. You got to figure out something. Didn't get a response back. So I ended up getting my fiance back on the phone, and we ended up getting into it. And I said, I asked him the same thing. Where you say you was at again? And I said, well, I talked to Nicole. She said you was with her. I played the reverse psychology thing.
Right.
And he said, huh? Uh-huh. And I said, Nicole said you was with her. You on a work trip? Did you invite her? And so for him, he was like, well, no, man, she popped up on me. And so he didn't know that I really never spoke to her.
Wait a minute. So he went on a secret rendezvous trip with Nicole here.
They both left.
Didn't. Excuse me.
I don't even know if
I was speaking. Hold on 1 second. I was speaking to her. I'll get to you in just a minute, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Can't wait.
Yeah, so I don't even know if she really was at work. At this point now, me and him into it, I'm about ready to go drop her kids and my kids off somewhere and get in my car and get on the road. So at this point...
You didn't do that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. You kind of hesitated.
I'm a changed woman. Yeah, I'm a changed
okay.
woman.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a special agent now, so I have to always think about the things that I do before I do them.
Absolutely.
Right. So, yeah. So that's kind of what happened. And so I'm bringing her here today for non-payment and for the damages that her children caused in my home during their stay.
Okay. So are her children still with you?
They are. She has not came. I can't get in touch with family.
So wait a minute. You have been raising her children all of this time?
All of this time?
No.
Wow. Is there anything else you want me to know? Because Chatterbox over here, she keeps interrupting. So I guess she has a lot she wants to say.
No, just besides, I really just want her to get the kids or find a family, find somebody to come get them. I'm not going to put the children out on the street. You know, that's just not me. But, you know, she needs to come get her kids. The damages, they damaged my garage door. They have just been little rugrats and just tearing up the home, markers on the walls, and damaged the cabinets, and the bathroom faucet is hanging.
As the weeks continued to pass, the situation showed no signs of improving. More than 3 weeks had gone by, and there was still no childcare arrangement in place and no financial support being provided. The responsibility remained entirely on Miss Easley, while she worked to manage a household that had become increasingly difficult to maintain. The children were energetic, and the strain on the home was becoming noticeable, with damage reportedly affecting several areas of the property. Despite the growing challenges, Miss Easley remained calm and continued providing care while making repeated efforts to stay in contact and resolve the matter responsibly. Rather than showing appreciation or concern, Nicole was described as responding with frustration whenever the issue was raised. Inside the courtroom, these details drew significant attention. Reports involving damage to the garage walls, plumbing fixtures, and other parts of the home painted a picture of mounting costs and added stress. As each new expense was discussed, it became clear that the burden on Miss Easley had extended far beyond simple childcare. The judge appeared focused on the practical impact of the situation and the financial consequences that continue to grow with every passing day. What started as a temporary favor was now becoming a costly and exhausting obligation, with no clear end in sight.
I just want to, first of all, say yes, she is a special agent, and she uses her job on a daily basis. She wants to be in everybody's business. And
I just have one question though. Was your location really where Michael was?
Yes.
Oh,
it was.
So you did run off in the sunset with her man.
There was no pop-up. I don't pop up on people.
Right, you just show up.
No, I was already there. Yes. When he came,
so y'all planned this?
No, I didn't plan anything.
So tell me how that came about, that you all just so happened to be in the same place.
I am on my assignment, so I'm already stationed to where
Well, we understand your assignment. We do.
I don't know how he came to be in the same city as mine. I don't know how his job works, but he ended up being in the same city as mine. I have made payments to her. They have a joint account, so it's not my responsibility if he gets the money out before she notices it's there.
That doesn't make sense. Why would you be making deposits in their joint account
for keeping the kids? No.
Wouldn't it make sense for you to just give it directly to her?
Well, that was the agreement that I was to send the money through the account, not exchange of any cash.
So did you tell Michael that the money you were depositing were for their kids?
Yes,
for your kids, I'm sorry.
They were both aware of what the money was going for. I'm not just going to be sending money to a guy. That makes no sense to me. But yes, I was sending her money. She volunteered to watch the kids.
She volunteered to watch them for a temporary basis.
Correct.
Not weeks, not months, not to still have them.
Yes, but did she tell you that whenever I would call and tell her that my nanny wasn't available or my contract was extended, that she was like, oh, that's no problem, that's no problem.
Well, I think the only reason she said that is, like she said, she didn't want to put the kids out on the street. That doesn't cue you to say, oh, well, let me just leave my children there, right?
Well, if someone's telling you that's no problem, let them stay, and I'm in a whole nother state, no, I wouldn't want my kids out on the street. But
so
if
you
she's
took that as,
voluntarily telling me.
You took that as let them stay permanently?
No.
While you and Michael run off in the sunset?
No, my assignment is only 6 weeks.
Okay, but after 6 weeks, you still didn't go back and pick them up?
My assignment got extended, and when we communicated with each other, she said that was fine. It was extended 2 more weeks. I'm not going to leave my kids with someone permanent.
At this stage of the hearing, the focus shifted toward accountability, and the explanations being offered were receiving close scrutiny. Nicole attempted to point to several outside factors as reasons for what had happened. References were made to financial complications, personal arrangements, and circumstances that she suggested contributed to the situation. However, the court appeared more interested in the decisions that had directly led to the children remaining in someone else's care for such an extended period. The judge carefully examined the facts and seemed unconvinced by efforts to redirect responsibility elsewhere. One statement from the bench stood out as a defining moment because it brought the discussion back to the central issue of personal choice and obligation. From that point forward, the atmosphere inside the courtroom noticeably changed. The explanations that may have seemed persuasive earlier no longer carried the same weight. The judge appeared focused on the reality that the children had been left in another person's care for months, while support and communication remained limited. As the testimony continued, it became clear that the court was looking beyond excuses and concentrating on actions. What had once been framed as a misunderstanding was now being examined as a series of decisions with real consequences for everyone involved. The shift in tone made it evident that the court expected clear answers and a higher level of responsibility moving forward.
Like you've done that, and that's the reason that she's here. I mean, we can't necessarily award damages or anything, but you can definitely be placed on child support if your children are going to remain living with her.
They will not.
She's assuming the parental role of them every single day based on what she said.
Voluntarily.
You voluntarily gave them up.
No.
Yes,
I can get my kids.
Yes, you did.
I can get my kids.
Well, it's a little too late for that. You can go pick them up. Yes. But as of today, because they've been with her, how long have they been with you now at this point?
Now 3rd month.
3 months?
Mm-hmm.
3 months? And they've been living with you?
I've been feeding, caring.
And you're still on assignment?
I am.
Okay, you obviously came here to waste my time because you are definitely going to be paying her some sort of support.
In addition to what I've been paying her?
How much have you been paying her?
She gets $250 a week.
$250 a week for a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old?
Yes.
She's blowing that in 2 days on groceries.
Yes, but that's what she wanted. That's what she...
Yeah, you came here to waste my time. You playing baby games. No, we're not going to do this. What we are going to do is put you on child support. Since your children have been living with her this entire time, she's been taking care of them. It doesn't seem like you have any intentions on coming back after your assignment keeps getting extended.
But I'm getting them next week.
Right. On an extended assignment.
Right.
Right.
But I have a nanny.
Okay, well, when you get them back, then you can come back to court and say something different. But until then, I want to make sure that she is at least getting some sort of financial support, because you haven't gotten them before now. You're only saying that because you're in court today. I've seen that before. You have to know, I've heard that song and dance. Yeah, that's not going to work. So, how much money do you make a year?
$90,000.
Okay. $90,000 and you sent her nothing. $250 a week. How much is health insurance?
$250 a month.
And you're paying that, correct?
Correct.
All right. So your gross is $7,250. You have 2 children. Do you have any other children outside of these 2?
No, I do not.
All right. So that brings your net to $5,667.87. We take that number by 25%. That brings your monthly child support to $1,417. And I gave you credit to your $250 health insurance.
What was the
sounds
number?
about right.
Did you need me to repeat it or say it louder?
Please.
Okay, it's $1,417 per month.
But the kids won't be with her.
Well, they are for now, and they have been for the past 3 months. And your assignment with your assignment with your job got extended. So until you pick them up, that's what the situation will be. Now, if you decide to go pick them up and you keep them, right, don't take them back to her, then it can change. But until then, that's what we're going to do.
I'm glad that, I'm not married to him, because I'll be asking for spousal support. I heard she's pregnant.
Oh.
So that number sounds about right.
She hears a lot.
Well, it doesn't sound like you disagree with anything she said. Yeah, it's right. Is there any other questions?
No questions.
Okay. Do you have anything
No,
further?
thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. If there's nothing further, you all are dismissed.
The case ultimately reached a conclusion that carried significant consequences for Nicole. After reviewing the testimony and the timeline presented in court, the judge delivered a ruling that made the court's position unmistakably clear. Financial support was ordered at more than $1,400 per month, and the decision reflected the view that caring for children comes with ongoing obligations that cannot simply be set aside. Throughout the hearing, the court showed little interest in arguments that attempted to minimize what had taken place. When Nicole suggested that the children would soon be returning to her care, the judge appeared focused on the facts already established, rather than future promises. The ruling reinforced a simple principle that echoed throughout the courtroom. When another person assumes the daily responsibility of providing care, housing, supervision, and support for children, there are still financial duties that must be met. By the end of the case, the message from the bench was clear and direct. Responsibility does not vanish when someone else steps forward to help during a difficult situation. The decision closed a chapter that began as a favor between friends and ended as a major legal dispute centered on accountability, trust, and parental obligations. What do you think about the court's decision? And what outcome would you have supported based on the facts presented? Share your thoughts below and follow for more in-depth coverage of remarkable courtroom cases and real legal moments.